Discover the incredible journey of a lazy boy, 45 days to uncover the life-changing value of time. Jake sprawled on the couch, the old fabric worn and faded like his dreams. The television flickered mindlessly, the only voice in his cramped family home. Known as Lazy Boy to his friends, Jake lounged in a world of daydreams, imagining a life filled with adventure, free from the grease and grit of the family gas station. His father, a stubborn veteran with craggy hands from years of hard labor, hovered nearby, preaching the virtues of hard work. Meanwhile, his mother flitted about, a soft presence filled with love but weighed down by her quiet fears for their son's future. One afternoon, on a whim, Jake decided to rummage through the attic for old video games that might still spark joy. As he sifted through the dust and memories, he stumbled upon a weathered journal. The pages were yellowed, and the ink had faded over time. It belonged to his grandfather, a man whose stories filled each entry with dreams gnawed at by hard reality. The raw honesty within those words struck him, awakening emotions he had long buried, dreams dashed by time, sacrifices made for family. As he read, Jake felt a fire ignite within him. He could see the struggles his grandfather faced, the grit it took to push through life's hurdles. The journal spoke of choices and the price of inaction, the weight of time lost. Over the following 45 days, Jake made a promise to himself. He would transform his life from a mere existence to something much greater. The summer stretched ahead, a blank canvas waiting for his brush strokes, but change was hard. As Jake put his plan into motion, he encountered pushback. His friends laughed at his ambition, tossing around jokes about Lazy Boy stepping out of his comfort zone. Jake faced rejection from the very people who once supported him. Their casual attitudes toward work clashed with his growing resolve. Doubt crept in as he felt the disapproval of his father looming over him, the heavy footsteps echoing in his mind. Then came the pivotal moment. Jake learned that Mr. Thompson, a beloved neighbor, was facing eviction. Mr. Thompson had always looked out for him, now, he needed a helping hand. With lessons from his grandfather's journal surging through him, Jake felt an overwhelming urge to act, but fear tightened his chest. He could lose his summer job, face the wrath of his father, and the pity of his friends. In that moment, standing at the edge of inaction, Jake was torn. He could retreat into the comfortable arms of apathy or choose to make a stand, a decision that could redefine who he was. Just as he took a deep breath and prepared to act, he heard his father's heavy footsteps behind him, the worried voices of his friends echoing in his mind. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a racing heart, Jake's choice loomed before him like a storm. Would he step into the world beyond the couch and embrace the adventure waiting for him, or would he pull back into the shadows of his old life? The weight of the moment pulled at him, and as he turned, the question hung in the air: what would he choose? Jake felt his heart pounding as he turned, the heavy weight of uncertainty pressing upon him. He could hear the familiar sound of his father's work boots thumping across the floorboards, each step resonating with years of unyielding expectation. There was always the fear of disappointing him, the man whose hands had built the family's future through sweat and toil. But there was also the growing voice inside him, a voice growing stronger and louder, inspired by his grandfather's words. Jake. His father's voice broke through the haze. It was a mix of concern and intrigue. Jake hesitated, caught between the comfort of his old life and the nagging pull towards something greater. He took a deep breath, the smell of oil and gasoline mixing with a hint of dust from the attic wafting around him, grounding him in the moment. What is going on? Jake turned to face his father. The old man stood there, worry etched across his brow, a softness that Jake had rarely acknowledged. This was his chance. He could either break free from the confines of comfort or stick with the familiar. Dad, I want to help Mr. Thompson, Jake finally spoke, his voice steadier than he felt. He's in trouble, and I think we can do something. His father's face twisted in confusion, surprise flashing in his eyes. Mr. Thompson? You mean that old man who can't seem to take care of himself? What do you think you can do? I don't know. But I can't just stand by and watch him lose his home. He's helped us so many times, right? Jake's chest tightened, his conviction battling against the doubts swirling within him. But he couldn't take it back. Once the words left his mouth, he felt a surge of heat rush through him. This was different from his previous ambitions. It was grounded in the desire to support someone who had genuinely cared for him. His father's expression shifted, the initial skepticism softening into something more, concern washed out by a glimmer of pride. Son, helping others is good, but, he began, pausing as if searching for the right thing to say. I know it's going to be hard, Jake interjected. But I don't want to be that kid anymore, Dad. I don't want to be lazy boy forever. There was silence. The kind that stretches like an elastic band, tight with unspoken words and emotions. Jake's heart raced as he watched his father's rigid demeanor crack slightly. All right, his father replied slowly. If you really want to help him, we can do that together. A swell of relief and excitement surged through Jake. They would work together to save Mr. Thompson. Suddenly, the summer didn't feel so dull anymore, it began to sparkle with potential. Jake couldn't help but smile, visions of late nights helping with repairs and project plans danced through his mind. It was a leap into the unknown where hope intertwined with purpose. Let us go talk to him, Jake said, the determination surging within him brightening his spirit. As they stepped outside into the summer sun, the world felt different. The gas station stood behind them, humdrum and familiar, but ahead lay a horizon brimming with possibility. He glanced at his father, who walked alongside him, a newfound warmth in their connection, a bridge forming between generations, between old dreams and new beginnings, but as they approached Mr. Thompson's house, doubt crept back in. Was he ready for this? What if they failed? The door creaked open with a calming familiarity, yet the uncertainty in Jake's heart tightened again. Would this truly mark the change he longed for, or would he crash back into that familiar, stagnant life? With every step, the question loomed larger, was this the adventure he had been dreaming of, or was he merely escaping the inevitable? The air thickened around him as the door opened wider, and he felt the weight of his decision more than ever. As Jake and his father stood at the threshold of Mr. Thompson's home, the sound of the creaking door echoed through the still summer air, amplifying the knot in Jake's stomach. Would Mr. Thompson welcome them, or would he feel burdened by their offer? Nervously, Jake glanced sideways at his dad, who offered him an encouraging nod. Jake stepped forward, almost afraid of the response that awaited him. Mr. Thompson. He called softly, trying to mask the tremble in his voice. The old man shuffled into view, his worn face breaking into a hesitant smile. Well, if it isn't the two good souls I saw walking up. His voice was gravelly, yet warm, wrapping around Jake like a favorite old blanket. Hey, Mr. Thompson, Jake said, forcing himself to smile back. We wanted to talk to you about, well, everything. We're here to help. Mr. Thompson's smile faltered slightly, the weight of understanding settling in. Help? Son, that's mighty generous of you, but I don't want to give you any trouble. Jake could feel his heart drop for a moment. You're not giving us trouble. You've done so much for our family. It's time we return the favor. His father chimed in, we're serious about this, Mr. Thompson. We want to see what we can do. The old man's weathered eyes glimmered at the mention of their willingness to help, but doubt still lingered. Please, let us take a look, Jake urged, stepping closer. We can make a plan together. After a moment that felt like an eternity, Mr. Thompson slowly nodded, opening the door wider. All right then, come in. But don't say I didn't warn you. It's a mess in here. As they entered, the scent of dust and faded memories filled Jake's nostrils. Torn furniture stood like ghosts in the dimly lit living room, and every corner seemed to echo with the laughter of years gone by, now overshadowed by neglect. Jake couldn't help but feel a pang in his chest. This wasn't just about fixing a house, it was about restoring dignity. He looked around, consciously forming a mental checklist of things they could mend. Mr. Thompson settled into an old, lumpy armchair and sighed deeply. "I just don't have the strength anymore, kids. It's been hard since Mrs. Thompson passed. I can't keep up with it all." Jake's heart ached for the old man. Here was someone who had taken care of everyone else, and now he felt powerless in the very home he once filled with life. "Don't worry, sir. We'll get this place back on its feet, I promise," Jake said earnestly. His words carried the weight of newfound responsibility. His father placed a reassuring hand on Jake's shoulder. "We'll take it one step at a time. We can clean, fix the roof, maybe paint a little. Trust us." As Mr. Thompson's eyes twinkled with cautious hope, Jake felt his own doubts begin to melt away. They might not have all the answers, but they could figure it out together. Jake glanced at his father, a new sense of purpose coursing through him. For the first time, this felt like more than a summer project. They were building connections, not just repairs. "Let's start today," Jake suggested, his confidence swelling. "We can tackle the yard first." The skepticism in Mr. Thompson's expression began to fade, and Jake felt a rush of emotion, a spark igniting his aim. As they moved to the overgrown garden, talk grew louder, filled with laughter and tentative optimism. Their teamwork began shaping a bond that was fragile yet vital. But just as they began to pull weeds, Jake caught a glimpse of movement from the corner of his eye. A shadow loomed at the edge of the garden, watching them intently. Fear prickled his skin. Who or what was that? His heart raced again. Was there more at stake here than they realized? Jake's pulse quickened, and for a moment, he felt frozen in place. He turned slowly, scanning the edges of the garden where the shadow had flickered. The sunlight was still bright, casting a warm glow over the tangled weeds and wildflowers, yet there was something unsettling lurking just beyond his view. "Everything all right, Jake?" his dad asked, noticing the sudden tension in his son's posture. "Yeah, I just thought I saw something," Jake replied, his voice a little shaky. He wanted to shake off the eerie feeling that clung to him but couldn't quite rid himself of it. Mr. Thompson stretched his neck, squinting towards the same spot. "Might be just a rabbit or a stray cat. They're usually around here." "Right," Jake said, forcing a smile. He wanted to believe that, but the sensation of eyes on him didn't leave. Instead, it settled deep in his mind, planting a seed of worry. Determined not to let his fear derail their efforts, Jake focused on the task at hand. They began yanking weeds from the soil, pulling together in a rhythm that felt good, almost therapeutic. Each tug brought up not just troublesome plants but also bits of conversation stories about the old neighborhood, reliving good memories shared under the same sun that now illuminated the mess of the yard. "I remember when I planted those roses," Mr. Thompson said with a hint of nostalgia, gesturing toward a scraggly bush tucked in the corner. "They were beautiful once. Your mother helped me pick them out." Jake's heart softened. His mother had often spoken about Mr. Thompson's garden, how it was a sanctuary for many. "We'll get them back to that," Jake promised, his determination reigniting with every weed they pulled. Hours passed as they tackled the garden. Jake felt sweat trickle down his brow. The sun was relentless, but the laughter and storytelling made it all worthwhile. Mr. Thompson shared tales of the neighborhood, stories filled with warmth and rich history. It was a bond forming, his existing fears gradually vanishing under the strength of their collective endeavor, but just as laughter echoed over a particularly funny anecdote about a neighbor's overgrown lawn, Jake's heart dropped again. The shadow was back. This time, closer. "Dad," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "Jake, stay focused on the work," his father instructed, but his tone was tinged with concern. In one fluid movement, Jake stood up and turned, eyes darting to the edge of the garden. Perched against the gnarled fence was a figure, a small girl, peering at them. She was thin, with tangled hair and eyes wide with curiosity. "Who are you?" Jake called, cautious yet intrigued. The girl didn't flinch. Instead, she took a step forward, revealing dirt smudges on her face and clothing. "I live nearby," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I saw you, you're helping him." Jake exchanged a glance with his father. There was something deeper in that statement, something that made the air feel heavier. Why was this girl watching them? What did she mean by helping him? Just as Jake opened his mouth to ask her more, the girl turned abruptly and started to retreat back into the shadows, her small frame disappearing quickly from view. "Wait!" Jake called out, instinctively taking a step forward. But she was gone, just like the shadow she had become. Jake's heart raced again, confusion swirling with urgency. There were things unfolding that he couldn't quite grasp. Was this girl connected to Mr. Thompson's past? "Jake, let us keep going," his father said, but Jake could already feel a new concern pulling at him. Who was she? And what did she know about Mr. Thompson's life? With thoughts racing through his mind, Jake looked at Mr. Thompson, who was now watching him with a familiar twinkle, but there was something else in his eyes, a flicker of recognition, maybe even fear. What was hidden just beneath the surface of this project? And what awaited them in the shadows? Jake couldn't shake the girl's haunting words as they continued working. He found himself glancing repeatedly at the edge of the garden, half expecting to see her reappear. He pulled at the weeds harder, each tug a desperate attempt to rid himself of the unsettling feeling that was trying to take root in his chest. "You okay, buddy?" his dad asked, stepping closer to him, his hands resting on his hips. "Yeah, just thinking," Jake replied, forcing a wavering smile. He wasn't sure how to express what swirled in his mind. The girl felt significant in a way he couldn't define, like a puzzle missing a key piece. Mr. Thompson was pruning a nearby rose bush, oblivious to Jake's growing anxiety. "You know," he started, "back in my day, we had kids running around here all summer long. Hard to believe how quiet it's gotten these days." Jake nodded, still distracted. "Do you think that girl, she lives around here, right?" Mr. Thompson looked up, his hands pausing as if the question caught him off guard. Yes, I suppose so, but I wonder why she was watching us." "Do you know her?" Jake pressed, his voice rising slightly, fueled by a mix of curiosity and concern. "No, I don't. But sometimes, kids wander. They can get curious about things they don't understand." Mr. Thompson's expression darkened momentarily, and then he quickly regained his composure. "Let us just finish here. Maybe she'll come back. Kids are like that, adventurous little spirits." Jake recognized the wisdom in Mr. Thompson's words, but unease pooled in his stomach. He resumed capturing weeds, but in a clumsy frenzy, losing the therapeutic nature of the task. Eventually, they took a break, sitting on the wooden patio steps that creaked under their weight. The sun hung low in the sky, painting the garden in soft hues of orange. Breathing in deeply, Jake tried to settle his thoughts. "Hey, do you remember when your mom used to come help me?" Mr. Thompson asked, breaking the silence. "Yeah," Jake said softly, memories flashed like flickering film in his mind. "She loved flowers. She'd talk about them for hours." A smile crept onto Mr. Thompson's face, but it quickly faded. "She always brought light to this garden." It hasn't been the same since. His voice trailed off, weighted with the loss that accompanied the unspoken. Jake felt a lump form in his throat. "Do you think it's different around here because of that girl?" Mr. Thompson looked towards the garden's edge again, thoughtful. "Perhaps she is searching for something, too. Or maybe she just wants a reminder of a time when life felt less lonely." Before Jake could respond, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed nearby. Both he and Mr. Thompson turned their heads in unison. To their surprise, the girl re-emerged, this time a small smile flickering across her face. In her hands, she clutched a faded photograph, edges curled and worn. "Here," she said, breathlessly. "I thought you might want this." Jake's heart pounded. What could be on that picture? "Where did you find this?" he managed to ask, curiosity igniting anew within him. The girl's eyes shimmered with an odd mix of excitement and reticence. "I found it near the old oak tree. It's of you and him," she said, pointing toward Mr. Thompson. Jake held his breath as she stepped closer, the photograph trembling in her small hands. The shadows of yesterday were coming to light. What image lay hidden within that worn-out paper? And what stories would it tell about Mr. Thompson's past? As the girl took a deliberate step towards them, Jake felt the tension in the air crackling. Would this moment reveal long-buried secrets, or take them deeper into a web of mystery? Jake's heart raced as the girl approached, her small hand steady but her expression a mix of uncertainty and hope. Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his brow furrowing with an intensity Jake had never seen before. The old man's usually serene demeanor gave way to something raw, something that echoed the pain of the past. The girl offered the photograph, her fingers brushing against Jake's as he took it from her grasp. It was a snapshot of a younger Mr. Thompson, grinning ear to ear, with his mother standing beside him, hands clasped together and faces bright with joy. The sun filtered through the trees, casting a heavenly golden light that felt almost surreal. "Wow," Jake whispered, the image electrifying the air. This was a glimpse into Mr. Thompson's life before the garden had become a silent witness to so much sorrow. Mr. Thompson's voice broke the spell, thick with emotion. I haven't seen this in years. My wife took this the summer after we moved here." A tremor rippled in his throat, and Jake could see the masks of manhood come off, revealing a man burdened by memories. "Where did you find it?" Jake asked, his fingers tracing the outline of the photo. "Near the old oak tree," the girl replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I saw it poking out from the ground, and I thought you should have it." "Thank you," Mr. Thompson said, his voice catching. He stared at the photograph as if it were a window to a time long erased. "That tree, we used to have picnics under it. Laughter and stories would fill the air." Jake felt a lump start to form in his throat. He imagined a younger Mr. Thompson, the way he must have been then, full of life, untouched by grief. It was hard to reconcile that image with the quiet, sometimes weary man sitting beside him. "Why did you come back?" Jake asked, turning to the girl. He wondered what brought her here and what she was seeking. Her gaze dropped to the ground. "Sometimes, I feel lost," she admitted, barely above a whisper. "I thought maybe you needed this too." The weight of her words settled between them. Jake felt an odd kinship with her, they were both searching. He longed to reach out, to comfort her somehow, but he knew he had to tread carefully. "We do. We really do," Jake replied, sharing a knowing glance with Mr. Thompson. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the yard, a sense of understanding enveloped them. They were all intertwined in this moment, a boy with a burden and a girl with a treasure, an old man carrying the weight of a history he couldn't escape. Just when the silence felt comfortable, the girl took a step back, looking resolute. "There's something else," she said, her voice firm now. "There's more at the tree. You should come see." Jake exchanged glances with Mr. Thompson. The urgency in her voice stirred something within him that he couldn't ignore. What could be hidden there? What other secrets were laid beneath the roots of the old oak? "Let us go," Mr. Thompson announced, the frailty of his age replaced by a flicker of enthusiasm. Jake felt the thrill of adventure surge, a chance to uncover more than just memories, maybe even truths buried deep. Fear mingled with excitement as they moved towards the edge of the garden together, a newfound bond forming amidst lingering uncertainty. Would they find pieces of their past, or was something darker hidden beneath the roots? As they reached the old oak, Jake braced himself, heart pounding. What would they uncover together in the shadows of that ancient tree? The oak tree loomed before them, its gnarled branches reaching out like ancient arms, sheltering secrets held close for decades. Leaves rustled softly in the evening breeze, whispering tales of laughter and love that once filled this very space. Jake felt the weight of the moment settle in. What could possibly await them under that sturdy trunk? Right here, the girl said, pointing to a spot near the base of the tree, where the roots tangled thickly with the soil. I buried a few things when I found the photo. Her brow creased with determination as if she knew without a doubt that these items held significance beyond their physical forms. Damar. Thompson crouched down, his weathered hands trembling slightly as he began to push the loamy earth aside. There was a kind of urgency in his movements, a desire to reconnect with a piece of himself that had been lost for far too long. Jake knelt beside him, heart racing in sync with the rhythm of the old man's labored breaths. The girl joined them on the ground, her small fingers helping to peel back the dirt. As layers of soil were unearthed, the atmosphere shimmered with expectancy. Jake's mind was a storm of curiosity and dread. What if they found pain? Or worse, what if they found nothing at all? Then, as the last chunk of soil was cleared away, Jake's eyes widened. Lying nestled within the roots was a small, rusted tin box, its corners dented and painted with the hues of time. Mr. Thompson reached for it, his fingers brushing against its cold surface, the familiar feeling sending jolts of memory rushing through him. "Jake, could you help me?" he asked, his voice snapping back to that of the man Jake had known. Without hesitation, Jake gripped the box. Together, they pulled it free from its earthen prison. The girl beamed as she watched them, but there was a flicker of apprehension in her eyes. Jake noticed it and felt a surge of protectiveness towards her. No matter what was contained within this box, they were all in it together. Carefully, Mr. Thompson opened the lid, releasing a creak that echoed in the stillness. Inside were several items, each one telling a fragment of a story. Old letters tied with faded twine, a small silver locket that gleamed like new despite its age, and a tiny wooden toy, a soldier, hand-carved with care. This was my son's," Mr. Thompson murmured, lifting the soldier tenderly. Memories flooded back to Jake as he caught a glimpse of the love that had once filled the home, now overshadowed by loss. The girl leaned in closer, her eyes wide. "What about the letters?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. With trembling hands, Mr. Thompson picked up the first letter, the parchment worn but sturdy. He hesitated, looking at Jake and the girl, then inhaled deeply. "These were from my wife. She wrote them when I was away." Jake could see the yearning in his eyes, a desire to keep the love shared so many years ago alive. "But what did she say?" Jake urged gently, sensing the unspoken stories within those letters held an emotional key. As Mr. Thompson unfolded the letter, a gust of wind whispered through the leaves, carrying the weight of anticipation. What memories would they unravel, and what healing would they find beneath those words? "Let us find out," Mr. Thompson said, a new glimmer of hope igniting within him. The shadows of the past seemed to tremble as they held the weight of unburied emotions. And there, under the watchful gaze of the ancient oak, they were ready to face whatever truths awaited them. Just as the old man began to read, Jake felt the ground tremble slightly beneath them, as if the tree itself was alive with the energy of forgotten stories yearning to be told. What echoes of the past would emerge in the lingering quiet? What revelations lay hidden in the depths of those letters? Mr. Thompson's voice broke the silence, trembling as he began to read aloud. The words spilled out like whispers from the past, bringing to life the world of love that had been tucked away for so long. "My dearest Thomas," he read, his voice soft yet steady. "Each day that passes without you feels like an eternity. Our son is growing strong, and every moment I wish you were here to see him." Jake felt the weight of the words wrap around him. The warmth in those sentences tugged at something deep within, a longing for connection. The girl sat cross-legged in the dirt, wide-eyed, as if she were peering through a window into a time she never knew. A small sigh slipped from Mr. Thompson as he pressed on. "I keep your favorite shirt close, hoping that its smell can ease my heart. You are my strength, and I believe our love will see us through these long nights." Jake exchanged glances with the girl, who seemed to hold her breath, absorbing every syllable. It was as if they were part of a secret that had been buried long before they existed. The atmosphere buzzed with emotion, thick and tangible. "Is it okay if I keep the letters?" the girl asked suddenly, her voice brave yet unsure. It echoed like a promise of hope, the desire to carry on the legacy of love that Mr. Thompson cradled so dearly. Delmar. Thompson paused. The question hung in the air, tender yet heavy. He felt the weight of her request, the way it resonated with the flutter of hope that had grown inside him. "Yes, if it means you'll remember," he replied, a flicker of light in his aged eyes. Just then, the wind howled, rustling the leaves above them as if applauding the moment. Jake drew in a deep breath, feeling a swell of emotions: loss, love, and something resembling joy. The locket sparkled as Mr. Thompson picked it up, his fingers trembling. "This was her locket," he said, his voice breaking. He opened it to reveal a tiny photograph inside, worn but still beautiful. "That's us young and in love." The girl leaned in closer, studying the faces. "You looked so happy," she said, and in that moment, Jake saw a glimmer of understanding pass over her, the connection between families forging anew. "And we were," Mr. Thompson replied, a smile breaking through the cracks of his sorrow. "But life has a way of keeping changes humble." As he tucked the locket back into the box, Jake felt a tightening in his chest. The struggle of the past mingled with the bittersweet nature of remembrance, a reminder that love never truly fades, even when it feels lost. "Can we write back?" the girl blurted out, excitement lighting her eyes as she glanced at Mr. Thompson. The innocence in her suggestion struck a chord deep within, sparking something in Jake too. Perhaps it was possible to send love across time, to create new memories from old stories. "Of course," Mr. Thompson replied, the joy of something once extinguished flickering back to life. There was a new purpose in his eyes now, a shared mission to honor the kind of love that time itself could not erase. As they sat there, lost in thoughts of what could be, the air felt electric, filled with untapped potential. What stories would they write? What new connections might travel through those echoes of the past? But just as they were lost in the moment, the sound of rustling leaves shifted. Jake's gaze darted toward the oak, the branches seeming to swirl and twist eerily, as if sensing their gathering. "What is happening?" the girl murmured, voice barely a whisper, uncertainty creeping in. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The energy in the clearing suddenly shifted, an unsettling sense of something watching. "Stay close," Mr. Thompson said, the warmth of their shared moment replaced by a spark of tension. What had they unearthed, and what would this ancient oak reveal next? The rustling continued, filling the air with a sense of dread. Jake's heart raced, and he glanced at the girl beside him. Her wide eyes darted from the oak to Mr. Thompson, fear and curiosity battling for control. Mr. Thompson's expression shifted, worry etched across his wrinkled features. "It's just the wind," he began, but his voice lacked the conviction he hoped to convey. The leaves whispered secrets, a language only the tree understood, and Jake could feel the ground shift beneath their feet, almost like it was breathing. Suddenly, a gust blew through the clearing, powerful enough to send shivers coursing through Jake. "Maybe we should leave," he suggested, unsure of how to voice the urgent sensation of danger creeping closer. "No," Mr. Thompson said firmly, shaking his head. "Whatever this is, we must face it together." The girl placed a small hand on Mr. Thompson's arm, her courage rising despite the chill surrounding them. "But what if it's something bad?" "We'll deal with it," he replied, his voice steady now, embodying the very strength he had written about in his letters. "Love is strong, and maybe just maybe this is about to reveal something we need to know." With every word, the trees seemed to stir, the branches swaying in a rhythm that matched the pounding in Jake's chest. It felt as if time itself had folded in on them, creating a space where past and present intertwined. As the rustling grew louder, the air thickened, and Jake sensed a presence. It was intangible yet undeniable. The girl held her breath, clutching the dirt beneath her tightly. She was ready for something, yet Jake didn't know what. Then, as if giving in to an unseen force, a flash of light illuminated the clearing, a soft glow that spilled from the very core of the ancient oak. It pulsed and flickered, casting shadows that danced wildly across their faces. "Look!" The girl gasped, pointing towards the tree. In the glow, intricate carvings became visible along the bark. Jake could see names, dates, and images etched deep into the wood, stories from those who had come before them woven into the very fibers of the tree. What does it mean? Jake breathed, stepping closer, intrigue overpowering his initial fright. Mr. Thompson squinted at the markings, recognition flickering in his eyes. These are stories of love, sacrifice, hope. He reached out, fingers brushing against the carvings as if they breathed life into his own memories. Each person who wrote their tale, it's like they never truly left. The girl's face lit with wonder as she moved closer, her eyes sparkling in the glow. It's like the tree remembers them. Jake felt a sudden surge of connection, the kind that transcended time and space. This tree was alive, a vessel holding generations of love and loss. A heartbeat echoed beneath his feet, drawing him in. What if we added our stories? The girl suggested, eyes wide with the thrill of possibility. Could we really do that? Jake asked, glancing between her and Mr. Thompson. Maybe it's what the tree wants, Mr. Thompson said, a deep resolve forming in his voice. To bridge the gaps, to continue the chain of love that stretches across time. But just as the idea took root, darkness descended momentarily, snuffing out the light. The wind howled again, a warning this time, sending the branches into a frenzied dance. Jake's heart raced. Would they unlock the tree's wisdom, or disturb something best left forgotten? Whatever you do, stay together, Mr. Thompson urged, resolute. Jake's pulse quickened as they braced themselves for the unknown. They had knocked on the door of the past, but now it seemed the past might knock back. What truths would this ancient oak share? What would they find in the heart of its secrets, and would they be ready for the journey? Jake swallowed hard, the words of Mr. Thompson echoing in his mind as they stood at the foot of the towering oak, its silhouette dark against the dimming sky. The pulse of energy intensified, wrapping around them like a soft blanket yet humming with a sense of urgency. He felt closer to the past than ever before, as if the stories etched into the tree were calling out to him, beckoning him to listen. Together, they gathered, hands united in a circle as they focused on the swirling glow emanating from the ancient bark. It felt like the universe had collided in this moment, binding their fates, old and new, in a tapestry of love and longing. Each of them, searching for connection, for purpose. Each of them was destined to leave their mark. I think we should write down our own stories, Jake proposed. The thought bloomed in his mind like a wildflower breaking through concrete. Stories about hope and love, about what it means to care for one another. The girl's eyes sparkled, and Jake saw the approval in Mr. Thompson's steady gaze. Those stories are a part of us, the girl said softly, conviction lacing her voice. They should have a place in the tree just like the ones before us. Without another word, they began brainstorming. Jake realized how transformative this act could be, not just for them, but for all those who might stumble upon the tree in the years to come. As they shared their thoughts, a comforting warmth enveloped them, as if the spirit of the tree fostered their courage. I'll write about my mom, Jake offered, an ache blossoming within him. She always believed in helping others, even the smallest actions mattered to her. It's what I want to carry forward. The girl smiled warmly, leaning in. And I'll write about how tired I sometimes feel, but how I find strength from others. How it feels to support one another. Mr. Thompson held back, absorbing their energy. Finally, he added, I'll write about love. About my wife, the laughter, and how those memories intertwined with this very tree. We all have scars, maybe our stories can help heal them. Can show others they aren't alone. As they each committed to writing, the energy within the tree seemed to quiver with life. This was more than just catharsis, it felt revolutionary, a testament to resilience. They gathered pen and paper, each finding a spot around the trunk, the fragrant earth grounding them. Shadows danced as twilight seeped further in, but they pressed on, words flowing like sunlight across the page. Minutes turned to hours as they poured out their hearts. They shared laughter and tears, feelings surfacing that were once buried beneath the weight of everyday life. Each letter, each thought tethered them closer together. An understanding formed a shared mission to honor not just their pasts but the future. With the glow of their imaginations combined with the swirling energy of the oak, Jake caught a glimpse of possibility. Here they were, three souls aligned by their desire to give voice to those who had come before and those yet to come. Finally, as the first stars twinkled above, they completed their pieces. Fragile, yet strong enough to stand against time. With hands trembling with anticipation, they prepared to place their stories into the hollows of the ancient tree. It felt like a rite of passage, an invitation for their experiences to intertwine with generations of others who had once stood in the shadows of that old oak. Jake looked around, sharing a glance of encouragement with Mr. Thompson and the girl. "Are you ready?" he asked, breath thick with emotion. "As ready as I'll ever be," Mr. Thompson replied, voice steady, eyes flickering. With a proud smile, the girl added, "Together." As they inserted their stories into the warm embrace of the tree's roots, the glow intensified, illuminating their faces with an ethereal light. Moments later, they felt the pulse beneath their feet align with their hearts, every word, every shared vulnerability surfacing like whispers carried through the wind. "You see," Jake whispered, his voice filled with awe. "We have created something beautiful." And as the shadows danced around them, the oak let out a gentle rustle, like a sigh of relief. The air felt lighter, the weight of burdens eased between them. Laughter bubbled up as they hugged, basking in the glow of their moment. That night, Jake finally understood this was the real adventure he had been waiting for. He had carried the burdens of old, yet through connecting with Mr. Thompson and the girl, he had breathed life into new joys. The past had not been erased, it had transformed into something hopeful, ready to embrace the future. In the weeks that followed, they returned to the oak many times. Each experience was a reminder of their journey, how connection changed everything. With every visit, Jake felt lazy boy slipping away, transforming into a young man fueled by purpose and community. When the summer finally waned, Jake stood before the oak one last time, heart full, reflecting on an unforgettable chapter in his life. Mr. Thompson and the girl would remain lifelong friends, forever woven into his heart. "Let us keep this going," Jake vowed, determination swirled inside him. "Let us tell more stories. We can inspire others." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the world, Jake realized this was the moment he had been waiting for. This was the life he never dreamed he could truly have. Standing proud, he felt the weight of time shift. No longer a spectator in life, he embraced every moment with open arms, knowing he had the power to change his world. He turned, ready to embark on his next adventure, forever left shining in the light of shared dreams. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your action truly makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and feelings about the ending. I want to hear from you, and wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us spread the love together.